this meme going around social media. You'll probably see it on the thumbnail, where it claims that liberals, people on the left, are more prone to mental illness, essentially. It lists a couple, specifically narcissism and psychopathy. But it got me thinking, like, is this just a bunch of shit talk, or are they onto something? And this being my first Republican vote, and as a former Democrat, I kind of was taking it personal a little. I'm like, I spent a lot of my life in that category, in that group. It got me thinking whether or not it has to do with my journey of self-discovery and healing, or am I just getting older? Shane Gillis, anyway, he says,
you might not be Republican right now. You might be young and cool and liberal. Probably think you're safe, dude. You're not.
But I sure know a lot of lefties. You know, my Facebook is just a battleground at this point. And can I just say, I want to make this point. It is incredibly fascist for your leadership within a political party and others in the party to encourage violence in order to subvert democracy. I just want to make that clear. Anyway, so I looked it up. I wanted to see if there was any truth to this. I found this study, Mental Illness in the Left. It comes out of Ulster Institute for Social Research in London. And so it has been reported that left-wingers or liberals in the US sense tend to more often suffer from mental illness than right-wingers. It lists sources from 94, 2007, 1977, and 2020. The suggestion is consistent with other research showing that religiosity predicts both mental and physical health. It cites some sources from 2016, 2006, 2018, 2006 again, it's a different one, 2003 and 2017. Given the known strong relationship between political conservatism, given the known strong relationship between political conservatism and religiousness, and it cites two studies from 2006 and 2013, political conservatism has been found to be associated with longevity. In a recent series of tweets, Le Monde in 2020 analyzed data from the Slate Star Codex, SSC, in 2020 reader survey. So they rate themselves based on left or right-leaning ideology, and then whether or not. So this is right, this is left, this is mentally sound, and this is challenged, you know, mentally, emotionally. Self-reported survey is far from representative, mind you, being mainly limited to readers of this particular blog. So they set out to find more information. There's another, I don't want to get into this one because it's, these are like poor mental health days ratings. First, they plotted the average of each outcome by political ideology and sex. And they like explain repeatedly why they use sex. So mental health outcomes by political ideology and sex. Female are blue, men are red, and this is extremely liberal, this is extremely conservative, you know. And when you get to liberal ideology, so forth, like the parroted politically correct things to say, it's pretty down on men, it's pretty hard on men, especially white men. They are the whipping post of modern society. Let's look at this one. Extremely liberal, female, blue, red men. And this is political mental health outcomes by political ideology. If they've ever had a mental health issue. This down here is counseling in the last year. So this is conservative, this is liberal, this is conservative. I mean, these are staggering numbers. It's almost like what happens to you when you're in an abusive relationship. Here, model projections of mental health by political ideology, controlling for age and sex, who've received treatment. Massive differences. This bottom one, though, that's staggering. So ever had a mental health problem. This is liberal. There's the average compared on the same scale, you know? This is wild. It's wild. And I figured they were just talking shit, but it checks out. And there are so many sources cited Emotional and mental disability. Look at that. This is your left. This is the right. As before, the results show that there is some relationship between mental health and political ideology such that left-wingers have worse outcomes. Happiness and political ideology. It says look at it from this way to this way. Happy. You know, because I claim conservative, and it seems like in the 80s and 90s, my conservative ideology would be liberal, because I think the extremists took over the party, and it is the extremists who have the most difficulty. What is this? Extremely liberal is brown, extremely conservative is dark teal, and we see, let's see, higher happiness levels on both questions in terms of Cohen's D. The effect size between the extreme groups are blah, blah, blah. Numbers. The results show that the relationship persists across all waves of data, beginning in the 1970s and into the end of the 2010s. A party affiliation and mental illness measures, error bars, blah, 99%, 95% analytic confidence intervals. So it could go up here, but 99% confident here, but they can go up to there. There's variables. And this is days of poor health, ever had a mental health problem. This is all the bar graphs kind of that I just showed you lined up. The analysis, meta-analysis, the individual estimates of mental illness measures are somewhat unreliable owing to the small number of persons in the extreme groups and the lower base rates. To overcome this limitation, we can meta-analyze the findings from table 3A. Oh, the main issue here is this, where's 3A? Like, it checks out. I trust the science. I guess the point is, when you have somebody living in an abusive relationship, they oftentimes defend the abuser. And I feel like that's what we're seeing with how hard people are pushing back against Elon, who's exposing corruption. They're like, there's no way he's a good person, but there's also networks and trillions of dollars, billions of dollars, pushing an ideology out there onto people. And if they are having mental health trouble, then there is science behind that they are more easily manipulated. And when you have democratic leadership encouraging people to violence, encouraging people towards civil war, while calling all conservatives and the conservative president, the Republican president, who was, mind you, a lifelong Democrat, same with RFK, same with Tulsi, same with me, you know, calling us Nazis and fascists, when fascism has hallmarks and qualities consistent with your party. Censorship, the woke ideology, the inclusivity. You figure it wouldn't, but it does play into the echoes of fascism in the past. When you have people promoting violence, that is the hallmark of a fascistic government. And you have, like Maxine Waters saying, we don't know what they have on us. And it turns out she's been funneling money from USAID to her kids. And who knows who else, like AOC grew a net worth of $20 million, making $175,000 or something like that. It's absurd. And Ilhan Omar married her brother. That's immigration fraud. These people need to be prosecuted. I don't understand. Let me just finish by saying, where are them Epstein files, Pam Bondi? How come we aren't talking about, how come we haven't made any arrests either when it comes to the fraud and the corruption? And I love that there was a judge who's demanding to see this paperwork, because I mean, you can put it up there on your websites. Doge and whatnot, they post their receipts all the time. It's hard to sort through, though. It's hard to confirm what they've found without using the tools that they've used, like AI, you know, sifting programs or whatever. Anyway, so interestingly, there's a percentage of America that has mental illness. And if those people are malleable because of that mental illness, and then they congregate in the left, you know, like I posted something recently where like colleges now turn out activists. If you go through any elementary school, and I've worked in elementary schools in red and blue states, and they both have it, where on the walls are political activists, social activism slogans, and so forth. It seems like our education system is trying to pump out as many activists as possible. And what are activists except divisive blowhards, you know? And the majority of the ones that find themselves with a platform, like Greta Thunberg, can speak really well, almost like Hitler. You know, he was a damn good orator, and that served him in his you know, reign of terror and murder and genocide. But like, because people can come at you yelling with a mean, stern face saying you're not doing the right thing and you need to do better, and you suffer from mental illness or you've lived through trauma, you're susceptible to that kind of influence. And when you think about the millions that are spent funding programs like that, 9 million just to Reuters for long-term social deception, like we need to see this for what it is. And hopefully people in our leadership now can start saying it out loud. And they have been. And then, you know, these Tesla fires and protests, paid protests. People are getting paid to go protest at Tesla just for the news clips. It's staggering. And it should show us what's what. And I'm hoping that any of you who are willing to engage me in this discussion will engage it thoughtfully. So.